Welcome to the Eczema Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Julia Chen. I'm here to help you heal your eczema naturally so you can finally live your best damn life. Many years ago in my own eczema healing journey, I was stuck and confused on how to heal my skin. Fast forward to today, after many lessons learned and lots of trial and error, I'm now living my best life and traveling the world with clearer skin. If you're an eczema or TSW warrior who desires a life of food freedom and is wanting to heal your skin without steroids while using mindset and manifestation as a tool, you're in the right place. Now let's get into it. And we're back with another episode of the Eczema Warrior podcast. I am so excited, you guys, because yesterday I launched my free training. I briefly talked about this in last week's episode, and I've been kind of sharing some sneak peeks on my Instagram stories. And it's here, you guys. We are doing a free training all about how to create a healing protocol for eczema healing. One of the most common questions I get is, how do you heal your skin and where do you even start? And so in this training, I'm going to be talking about the 3 things to focus on to help heal your eczema faster. We're diving into the diet. We're diving into why supplements are important and also the lifestyle and mindset changes that you'll need to focus on as a part of your protocol as well. We already have a bunch of people who've already signed up within the last 24 hours. Seats are limited. It's a completely free training. We're going to dive into all of this inside this training for 60 minutes. And then a beautiful bonus that you get, actually 2 bonuses that you get if you join the free training and attend till the very end, is that you get to enter to win a free one-on-one coaching call with me. Yeah, how crazy is that? Free coaching call with me, 30 minutes, and it's going to be great for you if you have questions, you want to get coached by me, you actually want to see what it's like to be coached by me. And yeah, you get to enter to win a free coaching call. And when you stay until the very end, the second bonus is we'll be announcing some exclusive promos for some ways to work with me. And we're doing sort of a mini launch for my signature program, Clear Eczema. So definitely sign up because you're going to want to learn about this training itself, but also get these 2 amazing bonuses. You can sign up in the show notes below, and I'm so excited to see you guys there. Okay, now let's get into today's episode because not much of a life update besides the fact that I've been working on this free training and we're launching it as of this week. We've got some exciting travel plans coming up for the rest of the year. I was just thinking about how crazy it is. It's already freaking July and we're already more than halfway through the year. I'm like, where did the year even go? Like, that's crazy. And we have a few months left of the 2023. And yeah, I'm just excited. There's some like travel plans that honestly wasn't even part of my plans for 2023, but it honestly just popped up. And because I can work remotely, which I'm very grateful for, I'm like, why the heck not? Like, why the heck not go to these places and explore and have fun while being able to work and serve my clients at the same time? Like, truly, truly, really grateful. And I'm excited to share more of my travels. I know some of you guys want to learn about eczema and how to heal and all this stuff like that, but you guys are also interested about travels and what I've been up to as well. So I'm excited to share that. Okay, without further ado, let's get into today's topic, all about whether or not going on a Candida diet is necessary. So I've been trying to think about episode ideas over the past week. And although I do have a bunch that I can think of, I actually asked you guys in the poll on Instagram stories the other day, and not a lot of you guys mentioned anything that you want to learn from me, which I don't know. It'd be really helpful if I could hear from you guys in terms of what you want to learn more of in this podcast. And you can email me, let me know. It's going to help me a lot with just pumping out episodes that you guys will find helpful, right? Like, I know the episodes itself that I've already have recorded have helped you guys a lot, but it'll, I want to make sure that I'm making episodes that you guys want to learn more of. So anyways, this Candida topic came up in one of the DM conversations I've been having with some of you about nutrition, about diet, and about whether or not avoiding sugar is necessary. So before I dive into if the diet is necessary, if the Candida diet is necessary, let's just talk about what Candida is for those of you who might be curious. So there's something called gut dysbiosis, which is basically when you have an imbalance in your good bacteria and bad bacteria in your gut. So when you have dysbiosis, this means that you generally have more bad bacteria versus good bacteria. And this can happen over various reasons like diet. It could be related to stress, antibiotic use. Your lifestyle can also impact your gut microbiome. And so a form of dysbiosis is actually Candida. And Candida is yeast in your body. So a normal person, everybody actually, has some level of Candida in their body, either on their skin, in their gut. It kind of presents in different areas of the body. However, when you have Candida overgrowth, this is when you have more yeast than you should be having in your gut. Let's just, for example, is one of the locations. And so Candida is basically a form of gut dysbiosis, especially if your Candida overgrowth is in your gut. And the cause of Candida, I won't dive really deep into it. I have a whole other episode called the top 5 root causes of eczema in my podcast if you want to learn about that. But lots of people with eczema tend to have Candida overgrowth. We actually see it pretty often in our clients, as well as clients who are going through TSW or have gone through TSW. So when you have yeast overgrowth, there is a strategic approach to healing it. And if you look it up on the internet, the first thing that people will recommend or Google will say is to go on an anti-Candida diet. Now, I feel some type of way when it comes to these diets because if you search on Google and you look up heal Candida naturally, the diet for this is quite restrictive. Usually it recommends you to avoid all sugar, even high sugar fruits. It tells you to avoid potatoes, which is a high starch type of vegetable. Also, some websites even tell you to avoid beans and legumes because they have carbs in it. And then oftentimes they don't recommend having any type of rice. And the problem with this diet is that a lot of people actually go on this. And, with our clients, we've seen some people who do well with it. The problem is it doesn't actually get rid of the Candida, especially if the Candida is moderate to severe. The reason because these diets, it helps to prevent the yeast from overgrowing, but it doesn't actually kill off the yeast. And that's the problem when it comes to these diets. When you're just going on a Candida diet, you're not actually killing off the yeast. You're starving the yeast because the yeast thrives on sugar and carbs. However, what happens when you need to start adding these foods back, which is what you need to do because you don't want to be avoiding things forever? The yeast will likely come back because the root cause of why you developed the Candida in the first place was never addressed. The root cause could be the fact that you have a lot of processed food and sugar in your diet. However, it's not going to be the only way to get rid of Candida by avoiding processed food and by avoiding sugar. That's why I always say when you are trying to heal Candida, you have to use supplements as well. You can't just use the diet-only approach because the other downfall when it comes to these diets is it's very restrictive. You actually might have even more intense cravings because you're literally starving your body from potential nutrients, right? Because you can get nutrients from fruit. Like fruit has great nutrients, especially all kinds of fruits have good nutrients for skin healing. And if you continuously avoid them, then you're not getting the nutrients that your body actually needs to heal. So when we approach Candida healing for our clients is, yes, we do a modified Candida diet approach. So what that means is instead of having you avoid potatoes, bananas, mangoes, dry fruit, and all these things, we look at the individual person and see what are you actually reacting to? Because if you are not having symptoms when you're eating banana, for example, then there's no reason to have to avoid it indefinitely. Versus if you're someone who eats a banana or eats some mangoes and you notice, okay, I'm getting a little bit of a flare and I'm noticing increased itching, then yes, that's a sign that maybe you need to temporarily, keyword, temporarily remove it out of your diet and then heal the Candida, kill off the yeast, and then eventually add those foods back. So right now, if you're thinking about going on a Candida diet and you're wondering if avoiding all these foods is necessary, it really comes down to your body and what kind of symptoms you're getting. If you're not getting any symptoms, you don't need to be that strict. However, what I also want to say too is you still got to be careful with like the processed sugar, right? Like you still want to do your best to avoid refined sugar and the white pastas and the white bread because, I mean, besides the fact that it can feed candida, it also is pretty processed and we don't want to eat too much processed food when you're trying to heal your skin. That being said, can you have a couple slices of bread here and there? Of course, right? Usually for the general rule of thumb for the Candida diet is try to keep the refined carbs intake 1 serving a day. So for example, if you are really wanting white rice, no problem, have just 1 serving, right? Maybe that's half a cup, maybe that's 1 cup a day. If you're really craving a brownie or a dessert, just have one. That's going to be your 1 serving. You don't have to restrict yourself to the point where you starve and you're just miserable, right? And that's the other thing too, is if you're going on these diets and you're miserable and you hate it and you're becoming more stressed about the fact that you have to avoid these foods, now you're no longer flaring from dealing with the candida. Now you're flaring because of worrying about your diet. And we've seen that a lot with our clients. They come to me on these anti-candida diets, unfortunately prescribed by their practitioners. They feel very restrictive. They have to avoid all these things and they're just overwhelmed and they're not seeing any healing because they're not getting into the root cause of why they developed candida in the first place. They're not on the right supplements. And so when they come to me, we work on actually adding some of these carbs back slowly and while addressing candida at the same time through supplements and through figuring out what else is driving the candida out of control. So the answer to, is the candida diet necessary? It really depends on your body and how you're responding to the certain foods that you're avoiding and whether or not you're taking the right supplements to kill off the yeast. If you've already been on this diet for more than 3 to 4 months, like strictly, and you're not seeing any changes, then that's a sign that you need to look deeper and need to look at what else is going on. Okay, because being on this diet long term is not realistic. It's not sustainable. You still need to have carbs to heal, right? You need to figure out how to get rid of the candida overgrowth without needing to avoid sugar and avoid honey, and avoid potatoes, because we all know we love potatoes and I like to sweeten my stuff with honey and I don't want to have to avoid it for a long period of time if it's not necessary. And the other thing, the last thing I actually want to mention too, is it's all about moderation, right? If you are going to have a coffee with a little bit of honey, do you really think that's going to make your candida go out of control? Probably not, right? If you want to have potatoes one night for dinner and you're eating a handful, think about it. Is it really going to make you flare? Is it really going to make your candida like overgrow to the point where you can't heal it? Probably not, right? So we have to think about diet from the bigger picture. If you are too hypervigilant and too like nitpicky with every little food that you're eating, that's not going to make a difference in your healing versus taking a step back and looking at, okay, generally speaking, how does my diet look over the week? Am I eating whole foods? Am I eating protein, fats, and fiber? Am I doing my best to avoid, the most refined sugar, like white sugar, white pasta, white bread? Because if I'm doing that, then having a serving of potato once a day is not going to make my candida overgrow. Given that you are, working on why you're getting the candida in the first place. And again, this is where supplements are really important and using the right ones to address your candida. For example, a lot of our clients with candida, we use natural antifungals to help with getting rid of the candida. And just to give you an example of what we use, typically for me as a practitioner, I like to use a combination type of supplement, meaning it's not just one herb. It's usually a combination of herbs. So for example, black walnut with oregano or pot of arco, usually a blend of herbs, helps a lot with killing off the candida. Now I have to say, just because I've recommended these herbs doesn't mean it's going to apply to you. Please, please, please seek advice from your own practitioner on what kind of herbs you need. But those are some examples. There's also caprylic acid, which helps to kill off candida. Enzymes are helpful as well. So yeah, those are some examples to look into to see whether or not a supplement is necessary for your case. And then the other thing when it comes to supplements as well, I feel like I'm going on a tangent now, but we're like talking about diet. Now we're talking about supplements, but some people do notice die-off symptoms when they are on a Candida diet and when they're also taking supplements at the same time. So when you're noticing a die-off reaction, this means that your skin may get worse as the yeast is dying off. So this might be unpleasant for some of you who are already experiencing flares because it can definitely cause the intensity to go up. So I would encourage you to get some support and some guidance from your practitioner so that they can prescribe the right dosage without causing you to go into a more intense flare. Okay, so to wrap up this episode with whether or not a Candida diet is necessary, I will say it's not absolutely necessary to be that strict with your diet. Really look into what you really need to avoid based on how you feel when you eat certain foods, and also looking at the bigger picture when it comes to your diet and not needing to be nitty-gritty with exactly what you're eating all the time. And then, of course, figuring out how to kill off the yeast versus just trying to starve it through diet, because it's not a long-term solution. And you're going to add foods back and notice that your skin's not healing because the Candida was never addressed in the first place. Now, if you have more questions about this, because I feel like this topic I can talk about it for forever, and it's might be a little bit challenging for you to figure out the whole Candida situation on your own. We're happy to help you inside our group coaching program, as well as our one-on-one coaching program. If this interests you, if you need help with root causes, nutrition, diet, supplements, mindset, which is really key, then make sure you check out the show notes below. There's a link to the program page where you can learn more about how coaching might be a good fit for you. And lastly, if this episode helped you, please, please, please do us a favor and leave us a review on Apple iTunes. This is the only way to get the podcast more known, to change more lives and reach more people who need more help with eczema. And if you leave a review and send your review to hello@juliachan.ca, I will respond and send you a free eczema visualization to your inbox. Okay, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day or your evening, and we can't wait to see you in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Now, before I let you go, I want to let you know I have this amazing eczema visualization. This visualization has helped me so much when it comes to manifesting eczema healing flares faster than I can ever imagine, reducing the itch, and just feeling great in my body. This is the exact same visualization I use for my own healing as well as my clients' healing as well. And if you want to receive this visualization, then all you have to do is leave us a review and tell us what you think about the podcast, screenshot it, send it to your email at hello@juliachan.ca, and you will receive the visualization to your inbox. I look forward to seeing your review, and we will see you in the next episode.